I'm Lois Johnston, professional opera singer and vocal coach and teacher. Today's choice is Musetta's aria from La Boheme by Puccini, which is Quando. It's a fairly big guns aria, so one of the things that makes it difficult is the phrasing. There are lots of long phrases, lots of dynamic contrast and changes in tempo, so breath management is really quite complex in this aria. So it probably isn't a beginner's aria per se. However, if you really love this aria, I have no problem with you having a go at singing it. So just be careful that you don't overweight the voice. Just if you are a beginner, sing it with your authentic voice and don't try and make a big heavy operatic sound. And if you do that, you should be able to learn it and not come to any harm. If you're an advanced singer, this is a brilliant audition piece. It's not too long, but it's got a lot of vocal contrast in it. So if you're learning it for performance or audition, you've come to the right place. As always, you need to furnish yourself with as much information as you can. So make sure you've read the synopsis of the opera. The background of this particular aria, emotionally it's extremely complex, so you need to know what's going on in the opera and in the aria. What's actually happening is Musetta has an on-off relationship with Marcello, and she's seen him at a club, at a bar, and she's realized that she wants him back. And they've had a bit of a quarrel. And while she puts on this very brash exterior, really to make him jealous, so she demonstrates the absolute best of herself. She's at her most vivacious and flirtatious. Underneath, there's this absolute fragility of having realized what a terrible mistake she's made by quarreling with him in the past. So there are the two things going on. There's the deep emotion going on underneath, and this very kind of plus size exterior of her personality going on the outside. If you've made it this far, thank you. It's you that I make these videos for. So please help me out by liking and subscribing and leaving me a comment, because I love hearing your stories and where you're up to with your singing. If you'd like to help a little bit further, then please consider joining as a member, and the small amount of financial contribution from you really does help with the making of these videos. I'm going to go through the pronunciation in the technical section, but as always, you need to know what you're singing about. Regarding pronunciation, if you're just singing this for fun, you probably don't need to take your pronunciation any further than I'm going to go in this tutorial. However, there's never a substitute for working with a native speaker. So if you have a handy Italian that knows a little bit about singing and can help you modify the vowels correctly, then by all means go through your text with a native Italian speaker. Or I'll post a link in the description, and you can just have a look at somebody that I would recommend on YouTube who's taking those Italian pronunciation steps to just the next level if you were going to be doing this for a public performance or an audition. The literal translation is going to come up on the screen for you, but in a nutshell, she is singing about how beautiful she is, how she enjoys people looking at her and admiring both her inner beauty and the external beauty, her obvious charms. And then she goes into a different place when she sees Marcello again and remembers the love that she's lost, and says really that she hopes he's feeling the same pain as she is. Our key is E major. The editorial markings aren't actually editorial, they're Puccini markings, and he recommended crotchet 104 for the waltz speed, so it's in 3/4, it is a waltz. It's often called Musetta's waltz song. So it's actually quite fast. 104 is about 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm not proposing to try and teach it at that speed. We'll take it a little bit more at a leisurely speed. And actually, when I sing it, when I perform it, I tend to just take it a little bit more slowly. It also says with much grace and elegance. And if it's just too fast, it's hard to feel graceful and elegant when you're being Musetta, I find, anyway. As always, look, music for me isn't territorial. It's a way of expressing yourself. So if you are not a soprano and you want to have a crack at this aria, by all means transpose it down. If you're a guy, sing it down the octave if you want to sing it. You can find it in multiple keys online, I'm sure. So, you know, just have some fun with it. It's like I say, music is inclusive. It's about expressing your personality. As always, remember to warm your voice up fully. This is a big aria. It's got quite a wide range, but it goes all the way up to a top B. And as well as having some really long phrases that need a lot of breath support, it's actually got quite a bit of flexibility stuff in. So I would warm up those areas of the voice specifically. So start with some breathing exercises where you're doing really long supported exhalations, and maybe also some arpeggio work to get that flexibility going. So let's get into it. First entry, Quando me vo. So pitching the qu on the note it belongs to. So just before you actually enter, you get these 3. So I'd be breathing on the middle one of those repeated B's, and then you've got time to pause and prepare the qu. So the qu goes right on that E entry. So here we go, let's just practice that. And then a breath. That needs to be super, super legato. So just really practice the vowels. Wow, getting them super, super connected, and then put your consonants in. Just no lifting off the breath pressure at all. Just keeping the breath flow really, really moving forward all the time through that phrase. And then the next phrase. Quando me soletta per la via. Breath there. So the quando me just a little jiggle, and it's just part of her personality. You know, she's flicking her hair or something at that point. Quando me I like a little portamento there. Between the soletta per la via, soletta, alone on the street. Letta is just slightly stopped airflow there. Letta per la via. Next phrase, la gente sosta e mira. So, quando me vo soletta per la via, la gente sosta e mira. People stop and stare. And she loves it. She loves every second of being stared at. Quasi writ as you're going through. La gente sosta e mira. It's just a broadening, I suppose, without actually really slowing down. And then Puccini is very clear with his instructions. Mira is back to tempo again. So it's not about getting wallowy. Just make sure you follow the instructions on the score about dynamics. So he's always very, very clear about what he wants. So, so getting quieter on the ra. Use the whole of the next bar to take your breath for the next phrase because it's a long one. So you've got a bar of rest, so you're breathing. breath there. Smooth onset, so you need to get your air flowing and then join the breath on the voice onto that breath flow. So while practicing it, if you need to let a little H out, and then take the H away, you just reduce it in size until it's just barely even there, and then just make it completely inaudible. Mia, me, me, me. She's so me, 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 Musetta. And then, tutta ricerca in me. Breath, ricerca in me da capo a pied. So there you have tutta ricerca. So again, it's just a little jiggle on the ornament. Cerca in me. So when you take the breath before tutta ricerca, you need to know that that B is coming on me. So you need to have the space ready with your soft palate fully raised up for that B, even though you've got notes to sing before that. So after you've sung Bellezza mia, mia, breathing for the B that's coming, tutta ricerca in me. So pitch the M on the B, but just barely touch it, and then open up wide into the R space. Think E as the correct vowel, but actually sing an R. So thinking the right vowel will give you the right sound, but you need R space when you're singing up there. And then another little jiggle, but they are important. And then a breath. Ricerca in me da capo a pied. So just make sure that we hear both of those little ornamental notes. And then after being a little bit broader through the tutta ricerca, then you go back to tempo after the breath. Ricerca in me da capo a pied. And I again like a little portamento. Capo a pied. As long as it means something. Portamenti need to actually, they're an ornamental feature of the music, but they do need to mean something emotionally. So for me, it's just, you know, she's saying, adore me from my head to my feet, and it's such a Musetta kind of sentiment to express. And then next section, erassa porro allor la bramosia sottil breath che dagli occhi traspira breath, and then the next section. So let's just take that for now. It's quite slow, it's a molto rit, and sottolineando means to underline or emphasize. So this is sort of, I think what Puccini was meaning here is just like she goes into Musetta overdrive with how much she loves to be adored. So this is the section that she savors the fact that people desire her because of this image she presents of herself. So it goes like this. Again, you've got the bar before to be taking a breath, so I would. Then you can pause on the quaver rest at the beginning of the bar just to be ultra prepared, and then ed assa porro allor la bramosia sottil breath che dagli occhi traspira, and just let that go. So there's a lot to unpack in that particular phrase. So working backwards, traspira, keep the air flowing and lift your voice off the breath, and then it will just ring on without you needing to worry about how do I end that note. As I say, just keep the breath going, lift the voice off, and you just get this fantastic ring, and it's nice and easy. Chi traspira is stentando is the the marking. It means labored, but actually here I think it just means adore me more. Each one of those little lines above each note there. Let's just go back to the beginning of that phrase now. So again, just get the air flowing so you get a nice smooth onset. So again, it's just ornamental, but I think they're important notes, and I would do sia. So ze is the e vowel on the ornament, and then a on the main note, the G sharp. Sia sotil breath. I used to struggle with that little bit, actually. I've just remembered, and I worked out it was because my vowel on the E, the spira, got too narrow, and I just needed to work out to keep that E sound on the E sharp in the R space. And then the F sharp was not problematic after that. So just those vowels, as you go up, pop them into that R space, and you'll get a beautiful ringy sound. Then she draws breath and carries on adoring herself. Edai palesi vetsi intende sa. So edai palesi, that's a Z sound. Vedzi, double Z, is the DZ or TZ sound. Vedzi intende sa alle occulte beltà. So they know how to appreciate beneath my obvious charms all the hidden beauty. Okay, let's just have a look at that. Starts the same. So it has much of the same legato line, super connected phrasing. Practice it to the vowels, take all the consonants out, and just really work on pushing through that, I call it vowel soup, just going smoothly from one vowel to the next on the next note. It's like joined up handwriting, you know, never taking your pen off the paper to get that beautiful, rich legato line that this calls for. And the ornament, again, it's just sa, sa. I think that covers that one. Breath. You can do a little upward portamento, I think. No, maybe not. You could do a little downward one between the F sharp and the E, I think. Then, diminuendo on the huge breath for the next phrase. Now, the instruction from Puccini here is alzandosi. It means rising or to stand up, or actually I think in this case it actually means to take off, and this is Musetta taking off. She's really finding her stride now. If you imagine yourself in this situation in a bar, strutting your stuff, and everybody is looking at you, it's really heady and intoxicating, and she is really getting into it now. So this is the bit, così l'effluvio del desio tutta m'aggira, the flow of desire completely surrounds me. So here we have so I think I like a little portamento there. just let real amounts of air through the double F. Fluvio del, del. So the ornament is on the del sound. Deseo. And I think portamento there. So one of the tricks with portamento, well, two tricks. One is make sure that you know why you're doing it. So for me, it would be just that feeling of desire begetting desire, I suppose. She's really quite getting off on people watching and wanting her, and she's getting pretty fired up, I think. So that's what that portamento is all about. I think it's very sexual. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, I think I am. So here we go. And then tutta magira, this is the desire surrounding me. And then she goes on expansively to say, it makes me happy. And it's such an outpouring of absolute joy. And she's just so full of life, Musetta, I think. So if we go from tutta that's got a pause on it. So provided you've taken a good breath for that phrase, you can hold that for as long as you feel that you want to within reason. Just make sure that you've got into that nice resonant R space with the soft palate raised. Take your next breath with total joy in your heart, ready for the next phrase. Felice mi fa, it makes me happy. Felice, just think of this phrase, it's the downward moving notes, but I think of them as moving up. They can go out of tune, so just make sure that you keep your breath support on even though the phrase is descending. And actually, if you really feel a rush of pure happiness, then that will actually help with keeping that feeling like it's moving upwards rather than falling down. Then there's a complete change of mood, and it happens in the chord on your second fa. So you've got and that chord becomes minor. And I think it's a really pivotal moment for Musetta's character, but certainly on this night, where she suddenly feels with an absolute stab that she's been a fool to let Marcello go. She's been a fool teasing him. So the next time she sings Felice mi fa, she's just going through the motions. She's now into this role of Musetta being extra Musetta. But inside now her heart is breaking, even though the exterior is still saying it makes me happy. So the next Felice mi fa is actually completely heartbreaking. There's a rallentando, it's getting slower, and even the piano part or orchestral part says morendo, dying away. It's like she almost grinds to a halt. Then she sees Marcello and sings directly to him. And you who know, who remember and are melting with passion, you can't avoid me. I know you're suffering. You might not want to show them, just like I put on this exterior so as not to show the suffering. You're feeling the same. She knows it, but she doesn't know that she can fix it yet, so she's really heartbroken. So where did we get to? The Felice mi fa e tu. So again, you're now singing directly to Marcello. So before it's been me, 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 and now a total change of color. Now it's you. I'm singing to you. Again, you need that lovely smooth onset. You've got a whole crotchet rest to breathe with a pause on it because things are just grinding down to a halt after that last dramatic phrase. So you've got heaps of time to take a really prepared breath. Beautiful smooth onset, get the air flowing, join the voice onto that. It's quiet and it's really diminuendoing at this point as well. It doesn't mark it in the score. I actually do a little hairpin in that phrase. Puccini probably would roll in his grave because it's not what he asked, but I like it. It makes me feel like I'm really tapping into the emotion there, and it helps with the connection between the because I like that portamento there. Then a breath. So che memorietti struggi, which is quasi rit again with the little stentando markings over the top. So they're just, each note is slightly weighted with emotion. Then a breath. Just make sure that you pitch that little ornamental on the F sharp and get into the open space for Morietti. So again, it just quasi-writ means it's like a writ, so it just needs to feel like it has a little bit more emotional weight in it, and then you get back to tempo for Fuji. So you're not, you don't allow yourself to wallow too much. The big stuff is still to come. Fuji. Pitch the F on the note, it's got a little accent on it, and then the Fuji, you can let a little bit of air through as well, the double G. Fuji. And then it gets really personal now when she says, I know well you're suffering because I've caused it, I think is what she's saying. Plus she's feeling it too. So this is so ben le angosce tue non le vuoi dir. So ben le an happens on the quaver, goscie happens on the quaver, tue. So again, with Italian, you're just going through the vowels in the order that they appear and just smoothing out the connection between them all. Non le vuoi, so uoi, all on one quaver there. They're the harder transitions. You've got heaps of time to breathe, so take the entire amount of the remainder of that bar after you've sung Fuji, you tie that just slightly over the bar line and then use the remaining 2 whole crotchet beats to take your breath before the next phrase. So ben. I didn't do a great job of that the first time. Make sure you pitch the B on the E. So ben, breath. Non le vuoi. All happens on that F sharp. As you're going up, when you can take a breath after 2. I have to. Just make sure that you find the space that you need for the F sharp as it's coming, and then you can do a diminuendo. Because I wouldn't do too much of a crescendo there because the big crescendo is coming in the next phrase, which is take a breath if you need it. So another breath. And then we'll cover the end in a second. So there's quite a lot in this last little bit. So we've done. You just have to bounce off that and take a big breath. That can be one of those, what we talk about being the splat breath, where you just have to make sure that your abdominal muscles, pelvic floor muscles are completely relaxed so that you can get a really full breath in just in that nanosecond that you have there before. So I would do the voo on the F sharp, and then the E vowel on the E. Breath. So pitch the B on the B. So as you take the breath before so, you need to have the space ready for that B that's coming. So soft palate in the as raised position as you possibly can. Take another breath. That was fairly filthy. I'm going to have another go at that. And then there's a diminuendo on the B. I'm going to use sitting down as my excuse for making a filthy mess of that, but you get the idea. So the arpeggio going up is forte. You need to have your foot on the gas, otherwise you'll misfire like I did. And then the so the diminuendo on the B is phenomenally difficult, and hand on heart, I can say I've only actually done one in my entire life that I was even remotely happy with, and it was a few weeks ago when I was rehearsing this for a performance that I'm going to do next weekend, and literally only one that I would actually say, yeah, I did really nailed that. So good luck with it. Keep practicing it. You know, it's a hard technique. Practice your messa di voce on the B. Practice them lower first and then work up to a B. And then what you need to do is extract just the second half of the messa di voce, the diminuendo part, for this particular B in context. So I'm going to have another crack at that from so bene. Breath. Find the space that you're going to need for the top B. And then you can do, if you've got it in you, you can do the portamento as well, dropping down to the staccato. And it ends quietly because that's the bit where she says you feel like you're dying, and after that B, that might be really quite literal. Regarding practice and performance, there's a lot in this aria, as I've already said, which is technically difficult. So isolate some of those features and make exercises out of them. The messa di voce I've already mentioned. Maybe some arpeggios for flexibility, because there are some arpeggios in here, and maybe some little exercises where you're just flicking off ornaments. So you could make something up, I don't know. We'll do it a little bit higher. So you're just learning how to just, you know, flick those ornamental notes so that they're there, but they're not important notes. Performance, it's opera and it's larger than life opera. It's such a fun aria to perform. So get into it, get dressed up, practice walking in your high heels, strutting your stuff. My partner and I had a lot of fun with this aria in lockdown. He persuaded me that we should be making mini operas at home. So we got full on into it. And this was one of the ones that we recorded, and I roped him in to be my Marcello. And it was just a whole lot of fun. So perform it for family and friends. Christmas is coming. Give them a Christmas gift which is a little bit different. Learn the aria, strut your stuff, show them what you've got. Sing along time, my favorite time. Here we go. I'll just give you those B's in so that you can practice breathing. Here we go. I'm building on YouTube a catalogue of tutorials which are for beginners right through to advanced singers. Please do hop over and look at the list. It's building up into quite an extensive catalogue of arias, and the tutorials do give you a lot of information and tips about how to perform these fantastic pieces of music.